Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Big Skin Project YouTube channel, and this is an emergency college corner podcast. James Franklin out at Penn State. We talk everything that, transpired to make this thing possible. What's next for Penn State? What's next for James Franklin? We got it all covered in this video. If you like this content, college football content, we're going to start doing college football content on Tuesdays. Tuesdays, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central is when we are going to do a show. Hope you enjoy this video, and if you like it, make sure to like, subscribe, keep coming back. Be awesome. Thank you so much. Let's get into the video. Welcome in to the Pigskin Project YouTube channel. I am Matt Hartman, joined by Ben Hansen, and this is a breaking news college corner. Oregon State has fired Trent. No, I'm just kidding. James Franklin out after, I think, 12 years at Penn State. The second biggest buyout in the history of college football, behind only Jimbo Fisher's massive, untouchable $76 million. This one looks to be about, all the numbers I see is $56 million. So, again, a crazy, staggering number. But you think about what has led Penn State to this. Going into the season, Penn State was unanimously one of the top three odds getters to win the national championship. They were number 2 preseason ranked in the AP poll, and now they are coming off back-to-back-to-back losses. One of them kind of justifiable, but still like, oh man, they lost that game again against Oregon at home for the whiteout. And then inexcusable UCLA, who might not lose again, and Northwestern this past weekend, the final straw that destroys the camel's back. Ben, what were your instant reactions when this came across?
Yeah, well, instantaneously, I was shocked, and this happened right as the noon games were kicking off. And we had a little bit of back and forth on this one. In my head, I'm like, well, yes, the UCLA game, the Northwestern game were the straws that broke the camel's back. But how much of this is just the fact that they're just like, well, this is a lost season anyways. We were going to fire him because he can't win the big game. And that's immediately where my head went. I'm like, well, this is the expectation. This is kind of the same views that LSU fans have on their head coach, where they're like, we're done with this mediocrity. We have a good enough team to be able to win it all, and we can't with him. And we're going to fire him at the end of the season. Why not just fire him after this Northwestern loss? But we're going to fire him because he can't win the big game anyways. And that's immediately where my head went when I saw the Pete Thamel tweet, come across my line there.
Yeah, I am on the other side of it, because in the sport that we're in with college football, going into this new 12-team playoff, everybody had the same take, and it was like the correct side of it, where it was like, nobody benefits more than Penn State, because Penn State now, for the last decade, has just been the 8th to 10th best team. And now, with the 12-team playoff, they get that opportunity to crack through and get into the college football playoff pretty consistently. And he continues to be around there. And what I said was, he continues to win these games. He continues to cover the spread against these teams like UCLA, Michigan State, Northwestern, all these lower level teams. He just can't win the big one. But in this new age of college football, that's okay, because you can get second and third opportunities now. And you look at Ohio State. Ohio State can lose that game on their own field against Michigan. A scuffle could happen. A flag planting can happen. I still will never forget Ryan Day looking with a shocked face. What happened? Just confusion. And that team won the national championship in 2 months later. So it's like, in the sport of now, the now sport of having the multiple chances, the multiple opportunities, losing to Northwestern was finally like, oh, we have no more opportunities, and this was the best shot. I don't know if he was going to get fired regardless if they didn't win the national championship. I highly doubt it. I really do. Because I think there's just a level of security knowing like 9-10 wins a season. This is the first time where it's like, oh, we don't have that security. Like this might just like catapult and cave in on itself. And you could argue it already did, because losing to UCLA and losing to Northwestern is caving in on itself. I wonder what happened in 24 hours. There was a report that Adidas apparently was forking over the money to pay for James Franklin buyout. Some people are saying that's completely false. I don't know. I'm not in the know. I am just college football fan reacting to what happened. But whatever happened, within 24 hours, somebody made a decision and said, we'll find $50 million to just get this guy away from us, similar to A&M. And again, now we get into we'll kind of talk about, should we start with what's next for Penn State or what's next for James Franklin?
I think what's next for Penn State is probably a little bit more clear of a picture, at least the way it's being reported. So yes. I think that might be a better place to start.
Yeah, so Penn State seems to be rumored to one name currently, Matt Rule, who obviously is an alum and played there, has multitudes of college football success throughout, none at the caliber of Penn State. Now at Nebraska, you think about, jumping in within the conference. That seems to be the main name that all anyone's talking about, where that's fascinating because a lot of these, we've seen, close to, I think it's like 7 Power 4 jobs already open up, and there's just a ton of like the basic names, on the list. Oh, maybe they could get Summerall, maybe they could get Will Stein from Oregon. This is the first one that like there are sources out saying Matt Rule. And so right now, I believe it would be Matt Rule. And yeah, what would you think of something like that happening?
Well, it's funny because I think if you go with Matt Rule, you're kind of just replacing James Franklin with another James Franklin. Like that's just kind of like what's the whole thing people want to talk about with Nebraska, right? Is that they can't win these ranked matchup games, and they don't have the ability to do that, and they can recruit, but they can't win when it matters the most. And that was all anyone wants to talk about with James Franklin. And I just think it'd be funny that, again, consensus right now is that it's Matt Rule. And, that's a crazy thing in its own right. We still have a lot of college football left to be played. And everyone is already just saying, well, it's Matt Rule, which is just never seen that one before. The other name, too, that people are floating around, I don't know if you've seen this, Mike Elko, which would that would be funny, but why would he leave at this point? Texas A&M is rolling regardless of whatever you think about them and their actual ability to win it all. Mike Elko wouldn't leave. I wouldn't quite understand that. So, flip side of that too, we're talking about where James Franklin might land. Wouldn't it be funny if they just swapped coaches? If they were just like, well, Matt Rule, see ya, have fun at Penn State, and then James Franklin gets hired there in Nebraska, because I think that is a real possibility. For all the flaws that James Franklin has, he's a very good head coach still. I mean, he was the guy that had brought Penn State back to relevancy. And he did win these games, as we talked about. So he's still a good head coach. And I would be shocked if he doesn't land somewhere on his feet very, very quickly, when that whole head coaching cycle begins again. And again, I just think it'd be funny if they just swap places. And I think that could be a very real possibility.
I noticed something. I noticed you didn't say a certain name.
Oh gosh.
It has to they're gonna try, right? They're gonna try. Like Kurt Signetti is Pennsylvania native. They're gonna try.
Gonna happen.
I'm not saying it's going to.
Yes, that's a name that's like people are floating. Penn State fans.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Yes. If you're a Penn State fan, you just watched him beat Oregon and Autzen, and you just watched your fired coach lose at home in to Oregon. So like, I completely understand why that is the name that is being talked about.
Yes, I don't think he's leaving. He just signed an even longer term extension.
Yeah,
this summer with IU. He said it before. He said, "Why would I leave IU for a powerhouse when IU is the emerging powerhouse?" Whether you choose to believe that or not is your opinion. But he's made it pretty firm. Given we haven't it's not unprecedented that coach says I'm gonna stay here and then sign somewhere else. But I think he's fairly firm in wanting to stay here at IU. But it's a possibility. I mean, you never know. So
I hope so for your sake, but it's definitely not zero to me. It's definitely not zero. And whenever something is definitely not zero, I don't know. 2 more names. Well, 3 more names. I'm gonna 3 more names. Just for the shock culture of it all, I saw a funny edit of John Gruden with Penn State gear on. I just laughed at that. I thought that would just be funny. That would never happen, but it made me laugh. And then 2 other names that are always Matt Campbell is always mentioned for some of these jobs to get an upgrade because all he's done at Iowa State is win. And yes, I get it's the Big 12, but Iowa State never won anything before Matt Campbell, and they continue to be in the Big 12 hunt. Imagine you put him on a higher scale with a higher budget. Maybe he figures it out. And then the other name, what if you just plucked from the Vanderbilt pipeline again? What if you go with Clark Lay, who is coming off another great, fantastic season with Vanderbilt, and they're already at a point where they're staring at bowl eligibility. Once again, maybe not as much success as Franklin did at Vanderbilt, with 9 wins, but similar to that, you're kind of plucking from some place you already know. I know different guys, but still something to throw out. But yeah, I mean, we hit on Matt Rule. Matt Rule seems to be the major name. Him and the athletic director have, major ties. They're close friends, is what I believe I saw a quote from one of the media days, whether it was this year or whenever Matt Rule signed on at Nebraska. So there is that, and then
I have one more name, and I don't think it will happen, and I can't stress it. Just thinking out
loud. We're just talking. I mean, this is just guys talking.
We're just guys talking. I wouldn't if just it goes sideways and they are not able to get anyone that they wanted, which I don't foresee happening. Let's say Matt Rule said, "No, I'm going to stay right here in Lincoln." I wouldn't completely rule out the possibility of them just calling up an old friend and saying, "Hey, Manny Diaz, do you want to come and be the head coach here?" And that's kind of where my head's at because, he has the history within the program already.
Yeah.
He's a coach in a Power 4 school. Hasn't had a whole ton of success as a head coach in a Power 4 school, but it's kind of hard to do that when you're coaching Duke. But if all else fails, I wouldn't be completely shocked if they're just like, "Hey, Manny Diaz, come back to State College here."
Yeah, I'm just interested to see how this all goes because Yeah, I mean, this was always the rumor that there could be, this could be with the way last year went, and like North Carolina was the prize job last year. Like you
Mm,
get Mullen comes out of, you know, there's a reason Dan Mullen took UNLV and is 6-0 right now. By the way, just keeping that like. By the way, Dan Mullen, who was coaching the SEC and won games at Florida a few years ago, is 6-0 coaching football right now. So I think everybody kind of had an eye. This could be the year where the dam breaks and things happen
mm.
like this. And yeah, behind the scenes, yeah. But we get into the flip side of the coin. We have discussed the Penn State. Let's discuss the James Franklin of it all. Obviously, the jobs that are open currently, you think of UCLA, you think of Virginia Tech, you think of Oklahoma State, Oregon State opens today. None of those are really like the one that I think a lot of people are coming to is Arkansas. You could also talk about like the inevitability of Florida opening. Like that one would be crazy to me if
Yes.
he goes to Florida. I think Florida is going to open, but I don't think he will go to Florida. I'm kind of on the. I'm just interested to see how the Franklin saga ends because I think you could just do so much worse, and at the same time, he's going to make $50 million. Is there a world where he literally just calls a timeout and says, "I'll go do media. I'll go do
Hmm.
this. I'll go sit on a beach, whatever I want to do." Like it's you have that what people call FU money now. Like you have that now, and so you're just to be told to go away. By the way, like nothing I want more in my life than to be a fired college football coach because man, do they get some money to just go away. But is there anything you is what are you thinking for the next step for the James Franklin story?
Yeah, I really think it's that last part that you hit. I I think it's probably more than likely that he takes a step back. Whether that's like taking a step back and not doing anything or doing media, or taking a step back in terms of like coaching, in terms of like I don't want to be a head coach again just yet.
Mm-hmm.
Let me come on and be a defensive consultant at Georgia, or let me
Mm-hmm.
be a defensive consultant at Alabama or something, which I think is a very very real possibility. Um, the one job people want to keep pushing at is that Virginia Tech job, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me because the head coach they just fired stems from the James Franklin coaching tree to begin with in the Brent Pray. Like they fired him 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I really, really doubt they turn around and hire the mentor of the guy that they just fired. It doesn't make any sense to me. Again, if you were to ask me today, um, October 13th, my guess would be he gets hired on as a defensive consultant at like one of your major schools and just takes a step back for a year and then gathers his bearings and then sees what job opens up the following year.
But I mean, the following year, you never know.
Yeah.
I'm I'm looking here. The so what I think it's going to be is you need to meet a requirement for Mr. James Franklin. I think power conference like the two power conferences only,
With a
and
lot of money.
exactly with a lot of money. And as you're talking, I'm kind of just like trying to find like I'm just spitballing, just seeing if I see a name. What if what happens if Auburn comes open or when Auburn comes
Mm.
open? Because you think about Auburn, like they have continued to dip into that pool with Hugh Freeze, where it's like, oh, coach who's done it in this conference, with Ole Miss, but he has all of that, the background trouble. and things like that. And same goes before with Harson. He has the stuff, with the lady inside the program. James Franklin is pretty squeaky clean as it gets, and he's won football games. And so I'm thinking now, like, I think that's one that I'm kind of circling. Like, does Auburn make a decision based on this? Does Auburn like kind of circle what just happened there? I don't know.
I
I
like
think
that. No, I think it's a good fit.
we're all in the 12-hour window of this. That I think no idea is a bad idea. That's what I want to be stressed. Um, but man, if you told me in March, whenever they got Jim Knowles, if you told me when they got Jim Knowles, hey, I'm from the future. James Franklin is going to be fired before Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. You know what I would have said? Wisconsin's playing in the Big Ten championship? Like, that's where my head would have gone. I would not have gone to this place where Penn State legitimately caves completely in on itself in a way that is just drastic. It is drastic, man. I don't know. I think we've hit on this on every possible angle. Is there any last things you want to add with this situation, or anything surrounding it?
No, I think in terms of Penn State and the program as a whole, there's one more big question mark regarding all of that. But this is a James Franklin only a little video that we're putting out. If you guys want to hear more about the other big question in terms of Penn State, if you haven't figured out that's Drew Allard. Watch the college football
Yeah.
show. It's really hard for me to not talk about it right here, right now. But we do have to save it. But again, it's just crazy to think again that he got fired. I mean, even going back to last week, we had talked about it. I'm like, oh, does Penn State fire him? And you're like, no
Yeah,
shot they fire him. And here we are 4 days later, and he's fired.
So
So it's just crazy how quick it happens.
I want to end this off. Maybe we should kick this off, but I want to end this with two questions. Did Penn State make the right decision? Do you think they're going to look back in 5 years and say, "Man, we did it right. We did it. If we could do it all over again, we'd do it the same exact way as we just did."
Yes, because at the end of the day, the goal is to win a national championship, and I don't think you would have ever been able to do that with James Franklin.
Okay, I think I agree with you, but man, it's
tough.
There's going to be a 7-5 in there that it's like, man, this is weird. Usually they're not here. And then the second question, the 2025 Penn State is still happening. You mentioned Drew Aller, like that sucks. Is this team going to make a bowl? Here's their last 6 games. They are on the road at Iowa this week. They then have a bye. They're on the road at Ohio State. They are home Indiana. They're at Michigan State. They're home Nebraska. They're at Rutgers. By the way, home Nebraska November 22nd is pretty hilarious. If we're like, that is pretty funny. I go resounding no. But
I think I'm gonna go with no, but I wouldn't outright be shocked. Now, if you turn around and Bo was still in the program, I'd say absolutely they're going to. But again, there are some very, very tough games left on the schedule for them. So I think I'm leaning no.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think new quarterback Grunkmeyer is going to walk into Kinnick Stadium. I mean, you struggled there. Top 3 team in the country.
Minimum, you have to win 3. You have to look through that schedule and say, are there 3 games that we can win with a brand new head coach and a brand new quarterback? And regardless of who you're playing, I think it's just going to be hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's all. Thanks for staying up with me, Ben. Thank you for watching this video. This is the stuff we love to create. Just being able to probably not break some news, but to just give you a new interesting perspective on some crazy news in a sport we all love. If you enjoyed this, Ben mentioned it, Tuesdays, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central is when we're going to start going live for the college football show. And then Wednesdays, if you enjoy some NFL football, we talk NFL with our buddy Ryan on this channel. Same time, same bat channel, but just talking NFL previews, things like that. So if you enjoy any of that, make sure to like and subscribe. We would really, really appreciate it. But we'll see you in the next one.